as I'm running out, I met up with my neighbor, the landlord, and the homeowner, and I didn't know if he got my voicemail or not. I left him a very frantic voicemail saying, "You gotta call me back right away, something's happening." I flagged him down as I was running out to meet the fire trucks. He was driving back this way. I waved him down, said, "Hey, it just barely started. The corner of the house is on fire right now. The fire trucks are already on their way." And man, I'll never forget the way he just kind of, oh no, but he's kind of a calm and collected, pretty cool guy all the time anyway. His wife sort of kind of lost it, and it was, I mean, that's a message you just don't ever want to share with anybody. It was kind of hard. So at this point, I just went there and I stood, and I was outside for probably 5 minutes, which was longer than I thought it was going to be. But it was getting to where I couldn't really feel my legs very well. And then the fire trucks came, and I thought, okay, here they are, thank goodness. They're going to show up, they're going to put the fire out, we're going to be just fine. But at first when I called them, I thought, okay, this is going to be just a minor cosmetic repair in the corner. There's going to be some smoke damage. They'll have to kind of rebuild a little part of the garage. And then as I waited more and more for the fire trucks to get there, the flames started popping on the outside of the house, and I thought, you know, this is going to be more than cosmetic. We're going to have to rebuild this section of the garage. And then as time went on, and it took a little bit longer for the trucks to get there, I thought, you know, we may be without the garage for the rest of the winter. We may have to kind of wall off the rest of the house and rebuild that section altogether. And then we watched in disbelief as the flames grew and they grew and they grew. And we were staying out of the firemen's way. We just wanted them to do their job and to get everything done without us bothering them. But we could tell before too long, we thought, the flames are on the other side of the house. We were watching from my neighbor's upstairs window, and I remember when the flames popped out of the other side, the far side of the house, my wife said, "Koji." And Koji was the name of a leopard gecko, a dumb little lizard that we'd had for several years. And no one thought of grabbing the lizard. And we didn't think of grabbing anything, because when we left, it was a very, very small fire in a tiny corner of a huge house. And we thought for sure, they're going to show up, they're going to put it out, we're not going to lose a thing. By the time we realized that wasn't the case, there's no going back. You can't run back in when the whole thing's in flames. So that's the reason we lost everything. We physically, personally ourselves, were never really in any danger, but it just got away from them. It got away from the firemen. They took 5 fire trucks and they emptied all 5 of them, dousing it completely, and couldn't get it done. It was just, the fire was too big. That moment for me was when it really hit home, when we thought, oh, Koji's gone. And it's weird when something like this happens, it takes a while for the gravity of your situation to settle in. Because at first I thought, you know, we lost all our stuff, but you know what I'll do tomorrow? I'm just going to go to the store and I'll get some of the essentials. We'll have some food. We'll get what we need to get through the next day. And so I told my wife that, and I think she probably thought I was a moron, because I said out loud something like, "I'll just go to Safeway tomorrow." And she goes, "Our vehicles are in there. How are you going to get to the store?" And I thought, oh man, the car's gone, the truck's gone. We've got no vehicles. And I thought, all right, well, we'll borrow a vehicle. Someone will loan us a vehicle, and I'll go to the store and I'll start getting stuff we need. And she goes, "Your wallet's in the house." And I thought, oh man, I don't have credit cards. I don't have my debit card. I don't have ID. I thought I'll have to use cash. But then I thought, the cash is in the house. Everything's in the house. My pants are in the house. I was wearing basketball shorts, which around the house, even though it's 20 degrees below zero outside, you wear basketball shorts around the house because that's what's comfortable. And so I thought, man, even my basketball shorts, that's all I had. I thought, I was laying there later that night, in the middle of the night, early hours of the morning, and I thought, I don't own pants. And it kind of made me laugh, because I thought that the only time that a normal person can say I don't own pants is when they're a newborn baby. You know, when you're a newborn, you got a bunch of little onesies and jumpers, and you don't need pants, and you don't have pants. And I thought, man, this is just the second time in my life I don't own any pants, and it kind of made me laugh. The homeowner and the landlord, he's a very good friend of ours. We respect him, we love him, and we just I think he's great. The landlord requested that we didn't share any pictures on social media, and so we've respected his wishes, and we haven't shared anything showing the house on fire on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Someday we maybe will, when we can look back and when it's not as big of a deal and not as raw, and the emotions behind those images aren't there. I did take several pictures of it. Of course, you know, it being a budding and amateur photographer, I was able to somewhat disassociate myself between the emotion of that's my stuff burning and the artist photographer side of things, saying, man, look at the way the flames are just lighting up the trees around them, and then you have the flashing red and blue lights from the fire trucks mixing with that. Forest is all lit up in the middle of the Alaskan winter, and then all the smoke and the steam and everything else rising from it. It was, artistically speaking, a pretty beautiful scene, a pretty beautiful picture. Emotionally speaking, being the person who lost everything, not such a pretty picture. It's something that can actually, it brings up some very raw emotions when I look at it. To my kids, their stuffed animals are their friends. They really feel like those stuffed animals are people. It was nice that when so many people reached out to try to help us and see what they could do for us and offer, we let everybody know. My daughter loves pugs. My middle child, Sam, he loves seals. And my oldest son loves whales, and specifically beluga whales. And a lot of those showed up in the mail, and it was really cool to see that their best friends were just back again. They got the same names, and it was kind of neat to see them replaced. We've all seen tragedies happen, and you just turn on your TV and you can be right there and you can witness it. And I believe it was Mr. Rogers who pointed out that you need to look for the good people, look for the good guys, look for those who are running into the face of danger to try to make a positive difference, trying to help. And that's some great advice, but it's really cool when you are the focus of that. When every direction you look, you can see goodness coming from humans. And that's how I felt that night, the next morning, the next week, the next month, still to this day. It's amazing. You know, we live in the woods, and people were literally coming out of the woods asking us what we needed. My very first friend, the friend that I made when I was 4 years old, and he lived across the street from me, he reached out to me and he said, hey, we've got some stuff we don't need, you might be able to use, it's in the mail. And he sent this old laptop, and he sent Kindle Fires for, not as a joke because they're Fires, but Kindles for my kids to play with. And kids absolutely love those. They still play with them all the time. My most recent friend I made, a colleague that I had met at a little open house, he reached out to me. He said, hey, I'm putting something in the mail for you, something I think you can use. This is my earliest friend I can remember making in my whole entire life, and here's a guy I met Tuesday, and everybody in between. People from high school, people from different places we've lived, gone to church with, people that we'd worked with, just people everywhere. And then on top of that, people we didn't know. We had people that we'd never met before. They just knew this tragedy happened, here's some stuff. Man, people are really, really good. A lot of you watching this are people who know me, or don't know me, but know my story, and have helped out, and I appreciate it. I don't know how else to say it, but thank you. It's been great. This could have gone very different, and it's honestly, it really scares me to think about what might have happened had that been 1 a.m, and maybe we wouldn't have been able to just smell the smoke and get out in time. And we had smoke detectors and all that, but watching the fire spread, seeing from where it started on the right side of the house where we didn't live to the other side of the house where we were all sleeping, by the time a smoke smell would have awoken us, that fire would have been underway right above us. And man, it terrifies me to think of how that could have gone. And so the things that mattered most to me were just fine. That my kids got out and I got out. Everybody's able to keep living our lives. The number one thing that mattered to me was A-OK. Kind of an idiot cries and says A-OK. The number one thing that mattered to me was just fine, was protected. And so we look at that and we say, man, our daughter's alive. Our sons are both alive. My wife is alive. I'm alive. And on top of that, we still love each other. and everything's great. And if you take the attitude of life owes me nothing, but life gave me that, that's not just me spouting out philosophy. I mean, I truly felt happy the day after our house burned down, and the day after that, and every day since then. As you look at it and you see the negative is obvious. Yeah, our stuff's gone, our cars are gone, our house is gone. We had to move 5 stupid times in 6 months. You know, it's been very hard. But it could have been so much worse. And everything that I care about and love and that matters to me, just fine, untouched, unsullied by the fire. And because of that, it's very easy for me to be grateful. And not only be grateful, but to be filled with joy and to praise God. And to say, yes, this was a blessing. This was something that helped us understand the proper relationship that we have with each other and with our stuff. I mean, you think about it, now that you know a little bit about me and about my priorities and what matters to me in life, my number one goal as a father is to prepare my kids for life and for them to have a good life and a happy life. You don't get many opportunities like this to just point at our experience and say, this is something we know. This is a priority for me. This is a firmly held belief for me. This is something I believe in. And we've all experienced this together, and now it's something you know. I mean, what a teaching opportunity that is. And that's kind of cool.